So we're filming at night, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Also, we're trying out a new lighting thing, so...
We just thought we'd see how it works out, so...
Sorry?
Or
you're welcome.
Depending
on how it turns out.
I guess let us know how you feel about it.
Yeah, okay. We're going to be talking about the books that we read in July 2018. I am Jessica.
I'm Christeena.
And you're watching
Game of Tones.
Where are my dragons?
The first book I picked up in July, I actually ended up DNFing. And it was Golden Sun by Pierce Brown.
Oh, yeah.
We read Red Rising and did not really enjoy it that much. And so people were telling me to, give it a chance.
Second one?
Yeah, I literally was halfway into it, and I was like, I can't do it. I loved the plot line so much more, but I'm kind of frustrated that there's a lot of things within this world and system that I don't understand that I feel aren't fully explained, at least in the context to where I could understand it. I literally had to Google what a stained was.
Stained?
In relation to the colors of the society, because I didn't get it, and it was mentioned multiple times.
Yeah, you were complaining about how there were terms that weren't explained, and
and I didn't know what a man of war was until after literally page 202. I was like, oh, it's a type of battleship. I had no idea, and so I can't stand that, and I wasn't as invested into the plot to want to keep going on with that, so I DNF'd it. I'm done. I'm calling it quits on that series. It's not for me. I can't do it. I like the idea of it, but it's not for me, so I'm done.
Well, I'm glad that you ventured out for me, and so I don't have to do it myself.
I don't think that you would like it either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So I finished in July The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. It took a while for me to get there, but I did it. And, it was alright. I liked it, and I would be interested in continuing on. I gave it 3.5 stars.
That's solid.
Yeah, that's a solid. That's an I liked it.
Yeah.
But I think it could have been edited down.
I would agree, yes.
I couldn't help but compare this book to Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings in its entirety, from all the books plus the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
There were situations that were the same, and people that were the same, and names of places, and different situations that I could just, they happened exactly like that in the Lord of the Rings, and all of the characters, I could assign a Lord of the Rings character to fit them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, it was its own thing, I will say that, but it was that he just used the Lord of the Rings as a template.
Yeah.
But it was so much like the Lord of the Rings that, how many times can I say Lord of the Rings?
I'm gonna keep count.
It was so much like it that I feel like the next book can't possibly have that much Lord of the Rings stuff in it. You know what I mean? Because it covered all the books, not just the first one.
And I mean, I will say, I read this before I ever read Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't draw as many conclusions, but since reading Lord of the Rings, I did draw some conclusions. And not quite as many, but I could definitely see where you're coming from. And it definitely wasn't exactly anything new.
No.
But it was still good.
Although there were actually some things that I liked. There are a lot of really great female characters in this.
Yeah.
That I really liked. There were even some creatures that I hadn't seen in other fantasy novels before. So I really like that. And when you continue on, I will pick up the next book.
Yeah, I definitely wanted a nice break, because that was a chunker. And I want to say that we started this in May. So I really thought you were going to DNF it, and I'm so happy and proud that you stuck with it.
Thank you.
But I totally would have understood if you DNF'd it, because I mean, it was...
There was a point where I thought about it.
Yeah.
And I never felt super compelled to pick it up. I did enjoy it while I was reading it, except for when it got a little repetitive.
Yeah, and that middle is,
But yes, I am interested to see how it goes.
Yeah.
The story, how it continues.
Cool.
All right.
So then we both finished I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. This is her biography, would you call it? Not really a
No.
biography.
But there were some biographical stuff in there.
Yeah, it's her nonfiction book about her investigating the Golden State Killer, and I gave it 4 stars.
Me too.
I really, really like this, and she did a lot of research, and I
Yes.
think it's really sad that she didn't get to live to see the Golden State Killer actually caught.
Me too.
I think she died just a few months before he was apprehended. I may be wrong on that, but I know it was like a really short timeline. But I really enjoyed this. We listened to it on Audible.
We did.
And I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so another book that I listened to on audio through my Overdrive app was I Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and I gave it 5 stars. Bonnie Turpin is, I've already talked about her, but she is the best narrator I've ever listened to. Definitely my favorite narrator, because she just, I feel like she really, really embodied the character and just everything. I mean, if every single category got 5 stars. I absolutely loved this. It really impacted me. I cried. I laughed. I didn't get some references. I had to look up what World Star was. I didn't get it.
I don't know that either.
Apparently it's like a website that would stream like fights and stuff.
Oh.
And that's in context of what it was referenced to in the book. And I was like, she's like, we started going at it and people started yelling World Star. And I was like, I don't get it. What is that? So I Googled it. So I felt old, but I really, really, really enjoyed this book.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really like Bonnie Turpin.
Yeah.
I listened to her narrate Bad Feminist, I think it was.
Yeah.
You should check out what other books she's narrated, because
I think I will, honestly, because, man, I'm telling you, as soon as I started listening to it and heard her narrating it and just really, really taking on the character, I was, like, immediately drawn in, and I was like, yep, this was a good idea.
That's awesome.
So.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So I read Kindred by Octavia Butler, and I listened to that on Audible as well. I thought the narrator was very good, and I don't know who that was, and I apologize. Woman goes back in time. She don't know why. It's never explained. She's a black woman from California, I believe, or LA maybe even.
But isn't she, like, a woman in LA in, like, the 70s?
In the 70s.
Okay.
Which is current day, because the book was written in the 70s.
Okay.
The mid-70s, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then she goes back in time to the antebellum South and has to deal with, slavery. It's rough.
Yeah.
It was well done.
Yeah.
And a beautiful story, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I really like books that feature time travel. I think it's really super interesting. The only thing I was iffy about was the southern accent. Now, the narrator does a southern accent when she's portraying characters, and she did a fine job at it, but they're in Maryland.
Oh.
People from Maryland don't have a country accent.
I've driven through there, but Pennsylvania and Maryland are very close together.
Yeah.
And every time I went to Pennsylvania to visit my family, everybody up there would comment on our southern accents. And as far as southern goes, I don't feel like I have a very southern accent, so for people to say that really shows like a difference.
Right.
So I would not imagine people from Maryland have a southern accent.
And she
either.
would have like a deep, like, Alabama accent.
Oh, no.
Almost. And even the story said that they had an accent. And I just didn't feel like that was, as a person from the South, accurate. I wouldn't even call Maryland the South.
What time was she in? The 70s, or was she back?
No, back in antebellum times. So I
wonder.
don't know if maybe, they
I
had
don't
an
know.
accent.
I
like
don't
that.
know, honestly.
Yeah, but it gave me
I would
pause.
imagine not,
It gave me
but
pause.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I know that you got that on Audible,
Yeah.
and I've really been thinking about listening to it. I've kind of been on an audio kick lately, because this month the majority of my books were audio. So I kind of listened to like the first few sentences of it, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that narrator.
Yeah, she
So
did a good job.
I might do that in August.
Cool. Yeah. So then I DNF'd Lab Girl by Hope Jahren, or Jahren, I think is how she pronounced it on the audio. book because she did, in fact, narrate it, and I DNF'd it because of her narration.
Ooh. Yikes.
She was just very melancholy and languid,
Oh.
and just like she was on something.
Oh.
Maybe not that. Maybe that's going too far. But yeah, it just made me feel sad when I listened to her. Like, it
Was the
just,
book sad?
It wasn't happy.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Well,
she was a geobiologist, and I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. So I DNF'd it. I wanted to read that for our Read Harder challenge of
Yeah.
reading a book about nature, and so I got rid of that. And then I got My Life with the Chimpanzees by Jane Goodall to replace it with.
Which I also actually just listened to and finished on the last day of the month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But it's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was really short. Jinx. What did you rate it?
I gave it 5 stars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I almost did. I gave it 4 stars, though.
I really, really... Also, okay, I want to say it was narrated by Jane Goodall,
Oh,
which
yes.
I loved. I thought she was a
So good.
great narrator,
Yeah.
too.
It just made me... It felt like I was, like, listening to history, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really got into it because I literally sat in one spot and listened to it for 2.5 hours. And I was just there. And I was, like, picturing it in my mind.
Yeah.
And I love the message behind it.
Me too.
Especially considering it was written or published in like 1994. I looked it up. I think that's right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still applicable to today.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, share the world, be kind, and like just these animals are going extinct, and like we can't take that back, you know?
Yes.
And obviously that applies to all species, not just chimpanzees. But I'm a little biased. And I just, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I liked it. And I just enjoyed hearing like a little bit of the backstory about how she was raised.
Me too.
And how she got into this position to be able to do this kind of work.
Right.
And how she literally had no experience and was just like this guy's secretary. And he said, I've been waiting for you to tell me this, that this is what you want to do. I've been waiting for you to say this. And so then she just... right time, right place, and got to do it, you know?
It was super fascinating.
And, yeah.
The reason I gave it 4 stars, I think, partly was because it was so short, and I felt
Yeah.
like there were some things that I really wanted her to elaborate on.
I do kind of wish that she would have.
There would be just, like, comments like, oh, and then I got to meet the queen, and then blah, 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 and I was like, tell us about meeting the queen! So...
I was thinking more about, like, okay, so you went and saw more chimpanzees, but, like, tell me more.
Right.
Or, like, when there was this part, I don't think you can really be spoiled in this.
No.
There's a part where there's a tiger going around in her camp and, like, destroying things, and she's, like, stuck in her tent, and I'm like... wait, don't skim over that. Like, I want the details, you know? Or, like, how she gives birth to her son, and they're like, that in Africa, and they were like, you should call him Simba. And I was like, oh, Simba.
She was really fascinating.
Yeah, I agree.
She still is. She's still alive.
Yeah, I did look that up because I was like, ooh.
I did too. Because my mom said that she thought she was dead.
I honestly
And I was
wasn't
like,
sure.
What?
She is, but she's like
84.
80? Yeah.
Sweet.
But fascinating woman.
Yeah. I really like the story where she saves a chimpanzee that's kind of young from a guy who just had a chimpanzee.
Yeah.
And then decided that he really wasn't equipped to take care of it. And then, but the chimpanzee and the guy's dog had made friends.
Yeah.
And so she called him back and expressed the fact that she was really sad that the dog didn't have a companion anymore. And so the guy agreed to get a friend for his dog.
Yeah, I thought that was really sweet. I really would have liked to hear more about how she talks about when she went to Africa, they literally were like a few people, and now this is a place where she's built this whole sanctuary and research facility and things like that. And I think I would have really liked to hear more about that
How
development.
it works now, too.
Yeah.
It was kind of an overview surface level almost.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that's why I wasn't like blown away.
Yeah.
But I really did like it. It was more like I felt like I could almost just like Wikipedia all the information she gave me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would agree with that.
I just felt like it was so lucky to live in a time where, like, Jane Goodall can read me her biography.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really, really like that.
Okay, let's move on.
All right. Both.
Sex criminals.
I was gonna burp. Ow.
You've been struck by a sex criminal.
We read Sex Criminals.
By
Matt.
Fraction
Oh man,
and Chip Zdarsky.
There you go.
Yo, I gave it 4.5,
0.5, right?
4.5. 4 or 4.5, I don't know.
I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed it,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, and I kind of feel like the downside for me personally about graphic novels is that I feel like I can't get into it.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
But you know that you can because there's Saga.
Saga. Yeah, I know.
Right.
I really liked it. It was funny.
Mm-hmm. It was funny.
And I thought it was, good.
Weird and
It was
inventive.
weird. Yeah.
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 So the premise is that
Oh, sorry.
a woman discovers every time she has an orgasm, time stops all around her, and this has become kind of a curse until she finds a gentleman who has the same ability.
We'll just let your imagination run wild with that. It's a
So-
curse for her until she finds someone else who has the same thing.
Yeah,
It's funny.
it's good.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars.
I gave it. Okay. All right. Well, I gave it 3.5.
Yeah.
But after discussion at our book club, because it was our in real life book club book pick
Yes.
of July, I should have gave it a 4. To be honest,
Oh.
I should have gave it a 4.
Uh-huh.
And I thought about changing it, but I
Mhm.
thought I would wait until after this to do that. I really, really enjoyed it while reading it.
Yeah.
But then when I was done, I was like, what? So I was like,
Yeah, it leaves
wait
you
a
with-
second.
It leaves you with a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get answers to those questions in the next book, which I want to pick up ASAP.
I really do as well. And I half read this on my Kindle and half listened to it on Audible. Apparently there are 2 narrators for this, so I will put the name of the narrator I listened to down
Nick
below.
Podal?
Yeah, I think that's right.
He did a great job, I thought.
He did great.
Yeah.
And the sample turned me off. I was like, there's no way I'm going to listen to that.
Right.
But my sister got it, and I thought, why not? I'll just listen to it while I'm reading it. And so I picked up the audio where it was in the book, and the voices he does for these characters and their accents and stuff really, really captured my interest.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up preferring the audio over the Kindle.
Wow. I read mine on my Nook, but for the last couple of pages, I picked up the audiobook so that I could make sure and have it done in time for book club.
Yeah.
But I did listen to Nick Podal read it, and I thought he did a great job. I was so emotional while reading this book. I felt so engrossed in the story, and
Yeah.
I felt I was on, like, Quoth is my character. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love when that happens. Like, when I really feel like I know a character, it becomes mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love that feeling.
I really like him, and I feel like for the main part of that book,
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But those other parts, I don't feel that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
For the current storyline, because there's 2 storylines.
Yeah, the current storyline, I don't feel like I really can say that.
Oh, I see.
Especially considering, like, where this book left off at, I was just left with more answers, I feel like.
Questions.
Yeah, questions. I didn't have
I was looking
answers.
so many answers.
I had so many answers, that's why I finished it and said, what? No. I am really, really interested, and I do want to continue on. I didn't feel like picking it up, but when I picked it up, I was really into it.
Gotcha.
But I was having a hard time wanting to pick it up. Does that make sense?
It does. No, definitely. I did not have that problem, and I was so happy. Like, actually, I wanted to be reading it all the time. I really, really
Yeah.
liked it. And that's why I gave it 5
Good.
stars.
The audio really helped me, though.
I went into it very skeptically because there was a lot of people who were like, I don't get the hype, but I get it. I really liked it.
I'm on the fence about it.
I understand.
So, I completed a Read Harder challenge.
Yay!
of Read a Book in One Sitting.
Good job.
Which was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I made a terrible mistake because I read it before our book club meeting, and I laid on the couch and like cried the whole time.
That's rough.
I gave this 4.5 stars.
Wow.
I really, really enjoyed it. Very connected to the character and the story, and the last message of it, I just was very, very emotionally connected because I cried through like half the book. So.
Well, you didn't seem sad at book club, so that's good.
Yeah, then I got a shower and I was okay. I tried to put this out of my mind.
Yeah.
But I really liked it, and I really like his writing style. And I have one of his other books, The Knife of Never Letting Go, and I'm excited to read that one at some point.
Do you think that's a book I would enjoy?
Yeah, I think you would.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you would. Yeah. You want to borrow it?
Not yet.
Okay.
I still have Their Eyes Were Watching God.
Do you want to cry?
I don't know.
Do you want to cry? Because you gonna. It's good.
Okay.
Their Eyes Were Watching God. That's really good, too. Also, I haven't seen the movie, but I do want to. But glad I read the book first, though.
And then I DNF'd a book that was for that same Read Harder challenge. Read a book by an LGBTQ author or a person of color.
Yeah.
Something like that.
A mystery one.
Yeah. I DNF'd.
The Paying Guests?
Yes, by Sarah Waters. It was a narrator thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When she did the voice of the other woman, she put on like this high falsetto voice.
Oh.
And it was like this. And then not only that, like she would laugh while speaking. She'd be like, "Oh yes." Just like that, sort of guy.
Oh my god.
I heard that and I was like, "Nope."
No.
And then I was like, "Wait, this isn't for the Read Harder challenge. You can just read harder."
No.
I turned it back on and she was like, and I was like, "Nope." So I turned it off.
No.
All right, that's all for now, folks. When you play the game of Tomes.
That's all, folks. I can't think of a Porky Pig.
Thank you, everyone, for watching When You Play the Game of Tomes.
You read or you die.
Come be our friends. Social media links in the description below.
And we hope you're reading a great book.
Bye.
Lost, what felt like it all in a game. Every man I've measured died to hurt me before